As current Rhodes Scholars, we just went through the application process, and we know firsthand how daunting the process of writing the essay can be. We wanted to make this video to provide you with some central tips and pieces of advice on writing the essay. Some of us come from institutions with a lot of support for the application process, while others come from institutions with no fellowships office. We hope that these tips are helpful to those of us that are worried about writing the right essay.
There's really no one way to write your essay. Actually, there's many forms and many ways you can express yourself. For some people, it may be through writing about an idea that they're passionate about, an activity that has inspired them. But for me, it was a combination of both. An activity that inspired me to combine it with a passion of mine. And so you have to remember that speak to what you care about and speak to what you know.
When I first began drafting my personal statement, I thought that my time in Cameroon was probably what would stand out most as dramatic and intense. For nearly a month, I tried to make that theme work, but it just didn't feel like me, so I scrapped it. The personal statement doesn't have to emphasize international experience. I ended up starting my essay talking about my family. I know there's this pressure to sometimes be dramatic and intense, particularly at the beginning, but that's not actually necessary. Certainly, if you have an international or dramatic experience that particularly resonates with you, you should feel free to talk about that. But ultimately, the personal statement is an opportunity to simply show you. What can the personal statement reveal and clarify about you that isn't captured elsewhere in your application? Use that opportunity.
Everyone who's going to be reading your essay already knows what a wonderful place Oxford is. They don't need to know about how Oxford in particular is the right place for you. What they do want to know is about who you are and what matters to you. For me, that was writing about my favorite novel, Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway. For you, that might be anything ranging from marine life to Hawking radiation to particle physics. So write about what feels like it matters.
Not only should the content be unique to you, but the way you write can be unique to you. So if you're funny, you can be funny. And if you're a storyteller, you can tell a story. I started my essay off with lines from one of my plays, and then I took a very narrative approach using threads and anecdotes to tie together very dissimilar things to show how I had come to the path that I'm on today. So allow your personality to come through, not just in what you write, but in how you write it.
When writing a personal statement, I think there's a tendency sometimes to try and fit all the cool and exciting things that are on your resume into this 1,000-word essay. I tried this at first and soon realized that it's impossible to get all these things into a cohesive structure, but at the same time, all of these things on my resume did not define who I really was. Obviously, if there's something, an internship or an activity that you cared about, certainly write about it. However, this essay is about you, who you are, what you care about, and what you really want to do.
We know this process can be incredibly daunting. I remember when I sat down to write my personal statement, I started by looking at previous scholars' bios, and they were so impressive, and I was incredibly intimidated, and I just didn't know where to start. Fortunately, Rhodes Scholars don't come in one form, and neither do personal statements, so make yours be reflective of that fact. Write a personal statement that reflects who you are and what you're about. We realized that a good test for authenticity is whether or not a family member or a close friend would recognize the statement as our own. If so, then you're probably on the right track. Selectors are looking for originality. Don't be afraid to take a risk. Be yourself.
It's fine to get inspiration by talking to friends, family, and fellowship advisors, and to use them as a sounding board for your ideas about your future. It's quite important, though, that your essay is your own work and not edited by others. It's often tempting to use the libraries of past successful essays that many institutions have. Please avoid the temptation to do that. We've already seen those essays and they don't best reflect you. Selectors see thousands of essays. They love it when they see an original essay. They love it when someone's taken a risk. And most of all, they love it when they can see you. You need to trust us to see you as you are. Good luck.